thing, and I thought, I'm going to see if he'll come on my show. Sure enough, you said yes.
Yes.
Hey, Facebook, welcome. Wake up. We got some great stuff for you today. Now, Comic Spot was created so that a military veteran, I can vet out veterans of comedy. And today you got one right over there in that other box over there. That's him, Jonathan Mangum. Oh my gosh. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me, Linda.
Oh my gosh, thank you for coming on.
Sure.
You're humbling me. So great to see you and you're so nice. You're not one of those like one of those stuck-up people.
I can be if you want, if that's what you want.
I'd like to read a little bit about the bio information I scooped up off of Google. May I do that? May
Absolutely.
I try?
I'll let you know if it's true or not.
Yes, you can tell me afterward. I'm open to it. So you've seen him on the cast of the Wayne Brady Show. He's the announcer for Let's Make a Deal, which, by the way, has been around almost as long as I have. He's originally from Alabama. Roll Tide. Joe Namath. He's from Alabama. He's a graduate. He got raised in Alabama, originally from South Carolina. Let me correct myself. I can improvise. Just can't be accurate. He's a graduate of UCF in psychology. He started in the SAK Comedy Lab in Orlando. He's been with Drew Carey on Improvaganza, the Drew Carey Show, Make Me Laugh, those kind of things. Sarah Silverman, he's been in Clueless. He's been on Roseanne, Just Shoot Me. Sometimes that's my mantra. He's been on Chicago Med, NCIS, Reno 911, and Whose Line Is It Anyway? Does anybody know? Anyway, welcome to the stage right here.
Thank you.
Today, Jonathan Mangum. Yay!
Yay. A couple quick corrections.
Okay.
When you say I've been with Drew Carey, I think you mean I performed with Drew Carey. Been with connotates perhaps something different.
You know him not like in the Bible.
I have not been with Drew Carey, but I have hung out and performed with him many times.
Thank you for that correction.
Sure.
Duly noted. Oh my gosh. Any other corrections?
No, I think you got it all right there. I was like, some of that I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Oh my gosh. So you grew up in Alabama.
Yes, ma'am.
What was it like growing up in Alabama, being you?
I love growing up there. I loved, it was the 70s and 80s, so it was a lot different than it is now. But, it was, we'd wake up, if it was during the summer, we'd just go off and play in the woods and dig holes and BB guns and pellet guns, and then come home when the sun went down, and almost no supervision other than that. So it was, I can't even, like, I have 2 teenage boys now, and I can't even imagine just letting them go for 12 hours and not wondering. I mean, before cell phones. I mean, my gosh, you just kind of hope your kids were alive at the end of the day, but they usually were. So I enjoyed it. It was a lot of freedom.
Yes, those were the days. Now I'm 70 years old, so I'm like way before that. But I remember, like your parents said you could just like go, and then if anybody in the neighborhood had rules, you thought, well, do my parents love me? They just really don't care.
Yeah. And they did. It was just it really wasn't that dangerous.
No,
yeah.
Not at all. So were you the funny little kid in the back of the class making jokes, or shy? What were you?
I was a quiet, good grades, nerdy, just kind of shy.
Are you still nerdy, or did you grow out of that?
No, I'm still very nerdy, but I'd say you don't grow out of being a nerd. A nerd is an accomplishment. You don't. I mean, you would say, did you degrade out of that? I think if that was the point. No, I'm happy to be a nerd. I love reading books. I love science fiction. I love all kinds of nerdy stuff still.
I'm not very nerdy.
It's
maybe,
okay.
yeah.
That's
Like
okay.
I used to think that nerdy people were really weird, now I've gotten to appreciate them.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes being nerdy is associated with being antisocial or awkward, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that.
Oh, and who do we call when our computer doesn't work?
Exactly. Believe me, I'm the computer expert here in the house when things don't work. But I enjoy it too. I like having a computer problem. I like going, oh, let me unplug this and restart that, and let me flash this prom with a new software. I love all that stuff.
That's so cool. What other things do you have from your childhood that attribute to how wonderful you are as a human right now? Because you're showing me that you are a wonderful human in many ways. Like you give eye contact, you're authentic, you're in the moment, you're being nice to an older person who's a nobody. I mean, where did you learn to be this nice and respectful?
Okay,
and
you're not
kind?
a nobody. You're Linda Smith.
You had to look to see that.
Well, I didn't
You're
remember
Linda
your last
Smith.
name. I remember the first name. I don't know. I mean, you're being very kind, and I like to think that I am all of the things that you are saying I am. So thank you. But also, there are many people that aren't the things that you think they are. So just because you're watching TV or whatever show and you see someone on there and they're happy and friendly, or if they're sad and angry, that doesn't really mean that's going to be who they are in real life. So there's always keep that in mind when you're I guess the biggest lesson in that is when you, and I've done this too, and maybe a lot of your viewers have, and you have as well. There's somebody that you really look up to, a comedian or an actor or someone great, and then you meet them and you're just completely let down because they weren't what you saw. And it's just like, but no, but I know you, and because I see you, and they're just different. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But I do like to think that I am the things that you said I was. So,
Absolutely.
but
And
something to think about.
When I was there at, let's make a deal. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. Please forgive me. I'm old.
Hey, I forgot your last name, so we're good.
When I was there, I saw you being calm and in the moment with the audience. I saw you with all great qualities. And yeah, I did. I pick up on who's real, who's fake. And I'm so glad one-on-one that I'm seeing that you're the same,
Oh, well, thank
it
you.
is a letdown if people aren't who they purport to be. It's a big letdown.
Sure. I mean, there's also a personality that we present to the world. Like, when I'm around the house, I don't have this much energy, and I'm not always this smiley, but generally, I think I'm close, hopefully, to to those things.
So you were nerdy, the good nerdy.
Yes.
And you still are, but in school you were more nerdy than funny. So when did nerdy become funny?
So probably around my 8th grade. The cool kids who I was not in the group of would just do this thing where, the younger kids would play in the playground, and at our school, the cool kids would just walk around the border of the school. And that was just during lunch, eat real quick, and then just walk. And
like border collies.
Yeah, basically. And so every once in a while, us nerdy kids would kind of like try to follow them a little bit. And then they'd be like, get out of here, you nerd. And I remember one time I was following them and they said something like, get out of here. And then I just made some completely vulgar, like borderline pornographic joke about one of their moms, which was shocking to them that this nerdy kid just what did he rated R, hardcore rated R joke? So they kind of laughed and they're like, well, come here, walk with us for a little bit. And so then I was just like their entertainment. I would just say the filthiest possible things I could about the nun that ran the school and the priest and each of their moms, and just like would just shovel out this filthy, like Andrew Dice Clay level stuff. And they loved it. So I kept doing it. And then I kind of was like, oh, this is a nice social tool I can use. As a nerd, I saw it as a tool. Didn't see it as I'm being funny. I was like, an interesting way to penetrate the group of these individuals whose company I desire to share.
The dice men of the Catholic school.
Yeah, basically. And so from then, that's when I first realized what, how comedy can be used and how powerful it was in certain situations.
Yes, yes. So then you started a path of thinking comedy had value. And then were some of the next steps that got you to where you are today?
Well, I did in high school, I did some theater performances and that was fun. And I got to be funny a little bit in that, but it wasn't until I went to college. I went to college for engineering at Louisiana State University because I still was a nerd. And I was like, you can't make a living at comedy. I didn't even know that was a possibility. So I went to 1 year.
I'll add that to your Wikipedia later.
Yeah, please do. So I didn't do well in this school because it was just hard. The chemistry was hard, and I did the dumb thing that. So if any of you young people are watching and going to college, don't schedule an 8 a.m. class for your freshman year in college. You're not going to wake up at 8 a.m. and you're not going to go. So, but I thought, oh, sure. So anyway, it didn't do well. And then my friend said, hey, you should go do this thing I'm doing. It's a work study program at Disney World in Orlando just for the summer called the Disney World College Program. And you live in a dormitory condo with other students from around the world. You work in the park during the day. And then in the evening, you're able to take classes and marketing and different things in the style of Disney. And so that kind of exposed me to this world of Orlando and Disney and the performing. And it just was so much more fun and exciting. And I loved it. And I just called my mom and I said, I'm not going back to engineering school. I'm going to stay in Orlando and I'll get a degree because she wanted me to. So I got a psychology degree, but it means nothing to me. Basically, I went to a bunch of classes, read the books and got B's. So I don't know any psychology, but that Orlando was where I met all kinds of great people and saw improv for the first time and signed up to start taking classes.
And you started right off the bat with Wayne Brady, didn't you?
Pretty close. So I started doing a thing called Comedy Sports, which is a competitive improv show. And I started doing that. And while I was doing that, this other company, the SAC Theater that you mentioned, kind of saw me and said, hey, come do shows with us. And they had a bigger audience and a nicer theater. And that's where I met Wayne. And so I think I was 19 and he was 18, somewhere around there. And so we started performing together around then, which would be the start of a long performing relationship and friendship.
Yes. The world is finding out how funny you are. It takes a long time for that to happen, doesn't it? Like it seems overnight when it happens, but like you're speaking to years of dedication, and I'm not being condescending. I'm just old and it sounds like it.
Well, the word dedication is maybe not the right word because dedication almost has the connotation of doing something hard that's arduous, but in the end there's a reward. And this never felt, doing the improv comedy never felt hard in any way. I mean, there were times where I wasn't good, but it was always fun. So because it was so much fun and still is, it never really felt like work to me.
And when you've done the improv with Wayne Brady, like the world goes, oh, Wayne Brady, you're just as funny, you're just as good.
Well,
and I look at it and it looks so hard. I mean, I can banter and add stuff here, but like on a stage in front of people, like that's another level. I can do stand up, but improv, wow.
See, I see stand-up as being harder. I tried it once and it was not easy. And improv, there's always someone standing next to you, right? So if you say something that's not good, instead of it looking like a punchline that fell flat, as soon as you stop talking, the other person will start talking to make it seem like you weren't trying to be funny then, the funny's on its way, right? So there's this illusion of never failure because, yeah, it's a neat thing. There's lots of tricks.
I need somebody like that up on stage with me when I do stand-up.
Stand-up is hard. When I did it one time at open mic night, the first two jokes went great. And then the third joke didn't work at all. And then, but I just was like, this is a terrible feeling. There's no one here to help me. And I just, it was, yeah, never again.
I've been in the audience where they do a lot of participation with the crowd, asking the crowd, what should we do now? What should we do now? And that's so foreign to me as a stand-up to ask the crowd what to do next. I mean, it's great in learning crowd work, but one time I was at an improv show and they kept asking the audience, what should we do next? And I was like, why don't you improvise?
That's a good Howie Mandel bit where he goes, have you seen the bit where he goes, I'm going to do some improv now. Okay. Give me an occupation. Okay. Give me a location. Okay. Now give me something funny to say.
He cracks me up.
He's funny.
So what are some things you've been in, like I mentioned in your intro, you've been on Sarah Silverman. Okay, let's talk about that. I adore her. I'm a little bit Jewish, the wrong half. Okay, my dad, loser, not my dad, me. Sarah Silverman is like the epitome. You've been on the Sarah Silverman show. What was that like?
That was an amazing experience. One, because my friend Rob Schraub was the director of it. And we've been friends for 15 or so years at that point. And he just said, hey, you want to come on the show and do a part, which is very rare. Usually you have to go audition against 200 or 300 people. And then you go back to another audition. It's a callback to maybe 15 or 20 people. And then you get picked. And then you have to hope that they don't change it. And this was just him going, hey, you want to come do this part? And so that was like, oh, it's like the greatest thing to an actor is just to be offered a part. And then I had met Sarah a couple times before, but she's super friendly, very, very positive, which was a little unexpected because, you know, she was very filthy at the beginning of her career and a little dark and a little like there's an edge there. And I wasn't sure, but in person, she was just so friendly and smiley, and she had her little dog with her at the time. And I really enjoyed working with her.
That's very cool. Very cool indeed. When you were on our show, what did you do? What was your role or part?
I played a commissioner. I forget exactly. Oh, I think I needed her to help me in some political role or something. And we added this really fun bit at the end because I talked to her for a minute and blah, blah, blah. And then I go and it says they shake hands. And I remember going, hey, can I do a thing where we just shake hands for a very too long period of time? So we just did this for like probably 10 seconds, like to that point where it's really just weird and didn't stop shaking hands. So, and she was very game with that. It was like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's do it.
That's so cool. So talk to me about Clueless and Roseanne. There's something clueless about Roseanne in the air, but I won't go there. Has to do with singing.
Roseanne was one of the first things I did. And what was really cool is that I played one of three people. This is when Roseanne, if you remember the story, she won the lottery at one point and then they became rich. And there were three super rich preppy guys. Myself, I don't remember the other one, but the other guy was Dana Gould, who is an awesome, amazing comedian and writer of Simpsons. And I love him. He's amazing. So it was cool to be able to work with him. And this was before he had really hit. So it was, you know, he still had some stand-up acumen, but he wasn't quite where he is now. So that was great. That was a big, they called them 3-camera shoots. And I believe, if I'm thinking back, I'm pretty sure it was on film, which is weird. They used to shoot those on film. So they had to load the cameras and stop, cut, take the film out with the black bag so no light hit it, and then grab a new spool of film and put it in all the So that was way back. That was probably 98 or something like that.
My goodness. Talk to me about Just Shoot Me. I'm a big fan of that show. Yeah.
That was fun. So that episode was a officer and a gentleman kind of spoof, and I kind of played the Richard Gere character,
nice.
Which doesn't often happen. But it was fun because I was, Spade was walking up and down, and I was standing at attention, and he's like, "Which one of you boys is gonna?" And I played his a worker that had just signed up that was kind of like him, that he was to train. And my fun story about that is, so his lines were like, "Boy, what are you doing, boy?" and military type stuff. So anyway, 2 years later, I'm just walking down the street and I see David Spade like walking towards me with a couple people. And I go, it's like, oh, should I say hi? He's not going to remember me from 2 years ago, just on the show once. And he's walking towards me and he looks at me and just goes, "Boy, why you need to get up in line, boy?" Just started doing the lines. So I was so happy that he remembered who I was and then just started doing the character.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you've been on Chicago Med and Reno 911. Tell me, I don't watch those shows. Like, I follow ambulances down the street. I watch what Nancy Grace shows, like.
Oh, they're a lot like the Nancy Grace show. They're almost exactly like the Nancy Grace show, except that one of them is a medical hospital and the other one is in your hometown. Reno 911 was fun. That was the way they did those auditions, where they said just come in and improv a character. So I just kind of picked a redneck character from where I grew up, and I walked in and just took my shirt off and started being a character. And then like 4 months later, they go, "Hey, you want to come play this part?" So that was unusual, that you usually audition exactly for the part. Chicago Med was pretty recently. That was about a couple of years ago, and that was actually, I had to audition for it. And I'm a big Oliver Platt fan. He's one of the doctors on the show, so it was really great to meet him. And yeah, I played a patient that was having open brain surgery, and during open brain surgery, you have to be awake. You have to be conscious, because they have to make sure that you can still talk and that they're not burning the wrong neurons out of your head. So
Wow.
it was pretty dramatic, but it was fun. I love doing that kind of stuff.
Wow. So talk to me about Whose Line Is It Anyway? Everybody loves that. Anybody loves it.
That's my favorite show. That's my favorite show to do.
What?
That's my favorite show to do.
Yeah, it's my favorite show to watch. It's so real.
It's really fun. The weird part is when people watch it, I shoot about 1 or 2 days a year. That's it. And they turn that into multiple episodes. So, it's people think I'm doing it all the time, and I'm actually, it's 1 day a year. We'll shoot for 6 hours, and that's why I'm wearing the same clothes quite often. But it's so much fun. It's, a lot of people have tried to make improv shows on TV, and no one has succeeded like Whose Line. That's because of, guys like Wayne and Colin and Ryan are so good, so funny. And it's still why it's, the only improv show. You would think that the CW would want a bunch of 20-year-olds on stage doing improv, but a bunch of 20-year-olds can't do it, because it takes decades and decades to get those skills. So that's kind of why it is what it is.
And I'll say, as a 7-year veteran of doing comedy, only stand-up, 7-year veteran, that's a joke. As in my level watching it, I can tell it's not easy, but you make it look so easy.
What did you do before comedy?
I grew up in Portland, Oregon, went into the Army, served my country. Yodeling in the Alps was my MLS, just in Germany. And then I came out, had a kid. I was in banking for 24 years, raised my daughter. She's on her own. She flew the coop. And so I started comedy that day that she went to fly her coop.
Wow. So you went from banking to comedy. So did, why am I spacing on his name? My favorite straight man of all time. Gosh, I can't. I'm just spacing. This happens.
A banker?
Yes, he was an accountant, and he in the 60s and 70s, and he had a bunch of sitcoms. Why am I spacing on his name? I can't think of his name.
What's he look like?
Gosh. Oh, I hate that I can't remember his name, because he's like one of my 3 favorite comedians of all time. He had 2 sitcoms, and on one, he woke up in the dream that was a dream of his last sitcom.
Wow.
If I told you his name, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure."
I'll be darned. And he was a banker.
He was a banker accountant, and then later in life, I think not until he was, gosh, in his 40s maybe, or late 30s, he went, "Oh, I'm going to do comedy," and he was hugely successful. I'll think of his name, and I'll just blurt it out at some point in the rest of this conversation, because I'm embarrassed I can't remember.
I won't think you have Tourette's. I'll just know that your nerd kicked in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So here you are, world famous, because these shows have played around the world.
Some of them. Whose Line has. Yeah.
What's that like, being you out in the mean streets of LA?
I mean, I really don't call myself famous. I think people generally go, oh, I know that. How do I know that guy? Hey, did you sell me a car last year, or did we go to high school together? There's this like weird, like, I know him, but it's certainly not. That's the guy from TV. So so that's great. So people don't usually bug me at all.
That's good.
Yeah, but when people do recognize me, I'm happy to say hi and shake their hand or sign an autograph or whatever.
Nice. So off stage, you have a private life, but in your private life, there might be little things you're willing to talk about that you're passionate for or against that aren't political. What do you not religion or politics, but what do you believe in, or what are you passionate about in the world or in your life or your family? Or
I love music. Look at my keyboards.
no way.
Yeah. I love music, and my kids both love music too. I think they're both going to do that for a living, which is kind of because of me introducing them to all kinds of music, especially jazz and jazz fusion, but really all kinds of music. So that's a fun hobby. I love picking a really too hard song on the piano that is above my level and spending like a year trying to get it down. There's one song I've been trying to get down for over a year. It's the only song I play. It drives my family crazy, but I want to perfect it.
What's the name of the song?
Well, the name of the song is Round Midnight, which is by a guy named Thelonious Monk, but the particular performance of it is from Herbie Hancock, and he's done a lot of different versions of it. But this one is a particular recording of a Herbie Hancock Round Midnight from an album from a movie called Round Midnight in the late 80s. So it's a real specific
thing. Remember the song.
Yeah. I paid a guy to transcribe it because it's not something you can listen to because it's very all over. So I paid a guy to like write all the notes. So I have all the notes, and I'll never be able to play, the same way, obviously, that a master can play, but I'll be able to hit all the same notes if I practice. So that's my goal, to hit all the notes in the song in some kind of tempo.
That's super cool. Oh my gosh. So you have children. What ages are they?
I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, both in high school. And one will be off to college next year, probably.
Boy and a girl, two girls?
Two boys.
Awesome.
And a boxer dog. That's my other thing. I love rescuing dogs, and I've always rescued dogs from Boxer Rescue LA. So if you're a fan of boxers and you live in LA, I know during the pandemic, they actually were able to house a lot of their dogs because people wanted to have companions. But that's where I usually go to find rescue boxers.
Boxers are adorable. I love it when they box.
Yeah, it's cute when they're.
Yes, I'm big about adopting animals and saving their lives as well. So.
Do you have, cats or dogs?
Well, I had a cat last week, but I was allergic to the cat.
Oh.
So holding up the old card again. So yeah, I had a beagle for 15 years.
Oh, beagles are great.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart.
He had a beagle?
No, he's the comedian who.
Oh, Bob Newhart.
I can't believe I forgot his name.
I love him.
Yeah, so he was an accountant. And then just started doing stand-up. His stand-up is still great. If you go back and listen to some of the stuff, I think it might have even been 60s when he was doing 60s, maybe? Yeah.
Early 70s. And I loved his sidekick lady on the show, the Bob Newhart show.
Yes.
Joe.
She was great.
Joanne. Anyway, I loved her. Yeah, that was a great show. I understand, and this could be rumor, but I understand that Bob Newhart is the one that taught Ellen DeGeneres comedy. And they do have the same rhythmish thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he influenced her. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was also, what I think is great about him on his sitcoms, he, as a straight man, it's the only time in history, I think, on both of his shows where the straight man was funnier than the sidekicks around him, right? Usually the sidekicks are funnier, and they were all great. All the sidekicks were funny. But I think about Seinfeld, or think about these other people, like Kramer's funnier than Seinfeld on that show, even though Seinfeld is, Ellen's funny. But Bob Newhart, just from that, deadpan look of like, going, oh my gosh, was a bigger laugh for me than the very funny people around him.
Yes, I love him so much. and his pauses, the way he paced and paused, and his voice, it all gelled.
Yeah.
For me.
He's one of my favorites. Him, Steve Martin, and Dave Letterman are my three
Really?
icons of comedy.
Okay, tell me why you said David Letterman. It took me 2 years to even be able to watch. It took me so long to get in, and then I appreciate him, but he was never my first choice. Tell me why.
He started a thing. Each of them started a thing. Okay. So Steve Martin started a thing because the stand-up was very, not always, but it had a tone of seriousness about it. And he came out going, woohoo, I'm so crazy. And he had an arrow in his head, and it was just completely ridiculous. People weren't doing that. He started that, right? Or at least made it famous. So Dave Letterman also kind of started the anti-comedy thing, where normally there's a setup and there's a joke, and you can predict the joke, but most people can't predict the joke because they're not comedians. So the joke would work. But Dave was predicting the joke and taking it the next level. And an example of like a Dave Letterman kind of bit that it just, there was one where hidden cameras were kind of big in the 80s. They had some hidden camera shows, and Dave had a guy on the street that would just ask people what the time was. And then when they started to answer, he'd go, look at the camera. Like just anti-comedy. It was the breaking of comedy. He took it and broke it. And it was so funny because we were expecting comedy. You can't be expecting comedy. Comedy works when it's unexpected. So he assumed that you were already hip to comedy, and then he was going to break it, which was funny. I don't know if that makes sense. That maybe that's a little too.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. My favorite thing that he did on the streets was when he got all the Easter bunnies in pink outfits to go to H&R Block and see how long they'd let them stay in there.
Yes. He did another thing in the 90s where Jay Leno was #1 in the late night ratings, and he was #3. And Jay Leno put a billboard up in New York in Times Square that said Jay Leno #1 in late night. So then Letterman put up a billboard that was 3 times bigger above it that said Dave Letterman #3 in nighttime. So yeah, so I love him just for kind of creating that anti-comedy scene, if you will.
I loved his top 10 list every night.
Yeah, they were just silly and funny, and when he got guests come in and do it, it was great.
Yes.
Yeah, it just felt special. It felt very different. I mean, I did love watching Johnny Carson as a kid, but Dave was kind of the antithesis to that. And so it made it special for me.
I sent in late night top 10 ideas because they were having contests daily for that. And he used 2 of my lines.
That's great.
That was really cool. You know,
that's amazing.
It doesn't get you on any stages in Las Vegas, but hey.
But you can say from the David Letterman show because you kind of were, right?
Cool. I might try that. Thank you. I'll work that in my bio.
Yeah, writer on David Letterman. Why not? I mean, that's what you did.
Cool. I wonder if Gabe Abelson will come after me or Eddie Brill, and they'll be like, listen here.
No one's coming after you. Don't worry.
So what would you like to say to people? Where can they follow you? How can they? Before we go into that, there is one thing I forgot to mention. I am amazed at what you're doing for up and coming comics on your Facebook.
Oh, well, thank you.
Talk about it.
That's a show called You Jokes I've been doing. I actually have a kind of a mini network on YouTube called You Jokes, capital U JOKES. And the way the show works is 2 comedians compete for a joke. So I'll show like a wacky picture and say, caption this. Each comedian will make a joke, but also the audience watching can type in their joke into Facebook or YouTube. And then our producer pulls out the best audience joke, puts it up against the pros, and then the audience will vote who had the best joke. So we've had some amazing people on the show. I've had Wayne Brady, and we've had Aisha Tyler, and all the great comedians, Doug Benson. But then I also like to bring in up and coming stand-ups as well. So there's lots of new coming comedians that have come on and played. So that's just one of the shows that show's on Facebook, but all 3 of our network shows are on the You Jokes YouTube page. So that's probably the best place to go check out what we're doing. We have one, it's a contest. You know, you talked about contest on Letterman, a show called High Joke Score, where in the show, I just give setups like, hey, what's the craziest thing you can say to your doctor that you can't say to your girlfriend? And then that's it. You type in the joke. And then at the end of the week, there's a scoreboard. The panel of judges will rate the joke, and the winner gets $25. And then at the end of 4 weeks, the winner gets $50, and we give $50 to their favorite charity. So all those shows are on YouTube. So
I'm going to go partake in that. I can't wait. Now that I understand it, I knew you were doing something for lesser known people. And I always love it when people arrive at a position and reach back and help others behind them. So kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. It's fun to do.
Yes, absolutely. What else are you doing out there where you would like following support?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I got the kids, I got the You Jokes, I'm doing the Let's Make a Deal. That's keeping me pretty busy right now, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my plate. You have described it all.
Awesome. So people can follow you. I know I follow you on Instagram by your name, Jonathan Mangum, and on Facebook, Jonathan Mangum.
Yep.
And your YouTube channel is called?
It's You Jokes. So capital U, Jokes.
Okay.
Perfect. Normally we have shows live every Monday, but today we're off for reasons, but it's usually live every Monday. Then we have a show on Wednesday. Then we have a show on Friday. We're always adding new shows. So come check it out.
What time of day are those shows on?
So the Monday show is usually at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 Eastern. Our second show, which is called F, Marry, Kill Champions, takes the game of F, Marry, Kill and turns it into a game show hosted by College Humor's Carolyn Page. That's usually at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. And then High Joke Score, which is the one where you can win money making up jokes. That's not live, so that we just drop them on Fridays, and then you have a week to think of a joke and type in.
That's fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to You Jokes and subscribe the minute I get off of here.
Excellent.
Anything you want to say to people to encourage them through the rest of this Meshuggah pandemic scenario, or through the rest of their life? Anything?
Just be kind. Just be kind. There's no, there is zero personal gain from being mean to somebody. It does not help you in any way. So why do it? Just be kind.
Yes. And what about to up and coming comedians that have to hang in there for a long time for their ship to come in? What do you have to say to them? Do
every single show that you can, even the ones that sound terrible. It's a fourth grader's birthday party in Barstow. Go do it, because the worse you fail, the more you will learn.
Oh, I love that.
I think I've done a fourth grader's birthday party in Barstow, so take my word for it.
I went and did comedy at the VA hospital by going from room to room, making people laugh.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because I'm a veteran and I wanted to give back, right? And I got done making this guy laugh. And then I walked down the hall to the next room and I heard beep, beep, beep. And he, I have a bad track record. That's all I'm going to say.
You killed him. Is that what you want?
It's hard to get back into the VA hospital after that as well.
That's
I was doing a weekly thing at a housing complex in Vancouver, Washington, and it was veterans. And they called me up and they go, "Don't come in next week." And I thought, well, it's because I'm lousy, right? And they're like, "No, it's," that's the assumption. "No, we had a stabbing and they killed 3 veterans." And I'm like, well, then I guarantee you I won't be in. And then a couple of weeks, "Okay, well, you're ready to have you back." And I'm like, well, I'm not ready to go back. And they're like, "No, you are." And so I called up the news channel. I said, "You got to come in with me. I'm not going in alone." So I wound up getting on the news because I was scared to go back.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's great that you do that. I was talking about Drew Carey earlier. I got to do a USO tour with him in Bosnia and Macedonia and Norway, and it was just a big a big trip, and it was so much fun. And I mean, our soldiers need entertainment. I mean, their days are hard, and it's great to be able to give them something to laugh at. And they were so happy we were there, and they were so generous too, like with their laughs, because they wanted to be thankful. So even if I said something that wasn't funny, they still were like giving me laughs because they're like, we're so happy you're here. So it was really fun.
You know, that's when I've had more people tell me that there's nothing better than going and entertaining the troops.
Yeah. And if you make a little fun of the officers, oh, they will love you forever.
I have a joke that I do at the end of every set where, you know, I'm a veteran and now my life is about giving back and making veterans laugh. And when I'm making them laugh and forget what they had to do so we can sling jokes in English,
yeah,
I get tingly from
Yeah.
top of here to the bottom, tingly.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna always go out and find another GI spot.
GI spot. That's your catchphrase.
End on a pun.
Yes.
It works. They love it.
I
So
love it.
what do you have to say? Anything you want to end with? I could talk all day. I keep going.
I just Let's Make a Deal's on every day, usually in the morning, different places. Whose Line is on the CW, and I know you have a lot of vets that watch your show, and so I appreciate you guys and gals and everyone in the services for what you do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to get to know you. I'm so excited that you did a USO tour. That endears you to me even more. It does.
It was a blast. It was a blast.
Thank you for doing it. Oh my
Of course.
gosh. Thank you so much, Jonathan Mangum. What's my name again?
Linda Smith.
This reminds me of Martin Short when he puts on the when he's acting like an interviewer.
Yeah, Jiminy Glick.
Yeah. Who are you now? What'd you say your name was? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda. It was a pleasure.
Later.
All right.
I'll be on your YouTube today. You jokes.
You jokes.
You jokes. You with the letter, like you.
You.
The other you. Okay, bye.
Bye, Linda.
Bye, Jonathan.